Hello Internet, hello friends, it's Kazh. Welcome to the tops of games that marked the year 2024 on Steam. So before starting this video, I want to mention that I am always very bothered regarding my health and I have a lot of difficulty speaking without choking. So excuse me if the diction is maybe a little slow and a bit too deliberate. But well, it's to avoid coughing in your ears every 3 minutes. You know, every year I like making this video. In the month of January, there is a video featured notably on the Steam page, the top of 2024. There was the one for 2023, 2024. Basically, at the start of each new year, Steam offers us a ranking of the best-selling games on its platform and will present them to us in different tiers. The Platinum tier, the Gold tier, the Silver tier, and the Bronze tier. Obviously, the games in the Platinum tier are the ones that have generated the most money. So, on what criteria is this ranking based? Simply put, the gross revenue. That means we're not talking about ratings or number of players in the game, nor revenues. Strictly speaking, we are only talking about revenue, meaning the amount of money that went into the pocket of a video games publisher. So basically, the games you will see are the games that have managed to scrape the most money from players worldwide. Before we start this review together, let's take a look at which games marked 2024 on the platform. Steam, I would like to have your comments already. I would like to know if there are games that are absolute bangers for you in 2024 that truly deserve to be here or not, if you are surprised by certain games. Alright, here we go. In Platinum, what do we find? We'll mainly find AKA. Platinum is what sold the most. In ATA, we'll find Black Mix, Wukong, which is really a release from summer 2024 that blew everything up. So yes, a small note, the prices are in zloty. You also have Elden Ring, which was released 2.5 years ago now. Thanks to its DLC, it's still selling well even in 2024, and it remains among the games that performed in 2024. What other AAA games can we find? Of course, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which also came out at the end of the year 2024, made quite a dramatic entry into this Platinum ranking. It's not a game I played, it's not a game I want to play. If I'm not mistaken, it's also available on Battle.net, which means it's on multiple launchers. Imagine the money that this game manages to rake in. We find Baldur's Gate 3 available since August 2023. This game is the ultimate RPG, which marked the year 2024, and it is quite logical to find it here. Finally, among the other AAA games, we find Helldiver 2, a superb cooperative game, which I also haven't had time to play, but which really seen by critics and a large audience. And I didn't know it was still played so much in 2024, that there were so many people who had bought it. And finally, Space Marine 2. Yes, Space Marine 2. It was released at the end of the year 2024 in September. It made a smashing entry. And from what I read, well, first there were all the fans of Warhammer who enjoyed themselves, but apparently it's a real killer. So here we are really talking about the big releases, the AAA titles, rather recent games, new ones from 2024 or even 2023 in Platinum. Next we'll find the free games, because yes, a free game, a big gambling game, notably with these crates of water, loot, microtransactions and cash shop integrated. What free games have completely excelled again in 2024 and which made a lot of money? We of course find Counter-Strike 2, I won't introduce it. We still find Dota 2, competitor. Dota 2, League of Legends, which of course isn't found on Steam. Personally, I prefer Dota 2 over League of Legends. Tell me if that's the case for you as well. Then again, it's true that Dota 2 has a slightly more elitist side and is sometimes a bit harder to get the hang of. I find the gameplay much deeper. Then we will see Battle Royale games like PUBG, a tireless one that always manages to generate so much cash, and Apex the Legs, which is always very well placed despite being available. You also have a Destiny 2, which is doing very well. Destiny 2 is a free game There are in-game transactions and so on, but there are also downloadable content releases that come out quite regularly. Finally, in the slightly less known games that are not AAA anymore, there is still Palworld worth highlighting, which was really the big hit, the big surprise at the start of the year 2024. This beautiful game that I have played very, very little, it is there in top platinum. So it's a bit of a surprise in this ranking at the platinum level. I didn't expect to see Palworld alongside a Call of Duty, for example. Well, so much the better, that's nice. Now let's look at the gold rank. In the gold rank, we will find games that have been there for many years, well integrated, well established on the Steam platform, and other rather recent games. Among the well integrated games, we have free games like Warframe, which is truly an excellent game and deserves to still make money. We'll see how this game goes, evolve over time, and I would be very curious to see the next game from the studio called Soulframe. We have War Thunder, which has been in operation for more than 10 years, and this free game is still a benchmark in the field. We will come across a game that is halfway between an MMO, a third-person sci-fi shooter, The First Descendant, free to play, which I presented to you this summer that I found rather beautiful. Much more despite the somewhat routine and repetitive side, a bit Asian on the edges, but a game that still has intrinsic qualities and we find it in order. Well, and so much the better. Another free game. Do we have others? Yes, we will find two other free games, namely Throne of Liberty. There you go. A game that was released in October 2024, so quite recent. A game that I had presented to you in a video. A game that I personally somewhat like. I like its grand show aspect, I like its finish. It is a very beautiful, very polished game that offers quite interesting content, but it is a game that doesn't provide enough freedom to MMORPG players. It's too directive. For me, it's not an MMO like I like to have them. I like old school MMOs with choices in loot, in skills, in creation, in short, more freedom and less guidance. That's another debate. Anyway, the game, I've seen some quite negative reviews in recent weeks saying that there were quite a few bots, that the game was dying. Is that true? I do not know, by the way. Tell me what you think of Throne in Liberty. In any case, is there another free game in this gold rank, Naraka Blind Point, which is simply a kind of battle royale extraction in the samurai universe with fantasy. In short, an online battle royale with its actions. And this game, I have never presented it in a video, but there you go. It has been among the best Steam games in terms of revenue for many years. In this gold tier, there are sports games, licenses that return regularly, such as FIFA, now called eSport FC, last year's version number 24, and this year's number 25, with ratings that are always average. In fact, people keep buying the same game. I have a hard time understanding, but well, why not? But it still manages to make money, knowing that it is on Steam, but also on the Origin platform. We find Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, which is apparently a very good game. I obviously have good reviews on this title. There you go, a multiplayer fighting game that mixes action from the anime, very faithful to the Dragon Ball manga. On the other hand, Ball Z can be very interesting for those who like the style. And finally, Cyberpunk, which had quite a disastrous start almost 4.5 years ago. Well, little by little, with the updates, we are at 2.2. With the DLC, with the animes that we'll find on Netflix, for example. Well, it's making its way, and that was for sure. Clearly, studios like CD Projekt or even studios like Bethesda and company are studios that generally deliver very good games that have many flaws at the beginning. Even Rockstar, games that can have many flaws at the start, and which over the weeks, months and years, there is always follow-up, there is always refinement, and we end up with excellent games. The proof, Cyberpunk 2077, when it was released in the first months. The reviews were horrible, and now it's a game that is rated very positive and still sells very well, and that's great. Finally, one of the little favorites, we find Enshredded, a game I like a lot. It was officially released a year ago. There have been quite a few updates. I presented the last update with the snow biome. I love this title, really very magnificent. I recommend it to you. Dead by Daylight, a resilient and essential and asymmetrical multiplayer game that is notably found a lot on Twitch TV. And finally, the big novelty, Path of Exile 2, which arrives despite the fact it was only released on December 6th. I believe there were only 10 days of ranking because basically the ranking we're seeing is from January 1st to December 15th, 2024, meaning in 9 days, Founders Pack sales because the game has not officially released yet. Path of Exile 2. And in the top, out of this ranking, a great hint, and the game is very good. We will take a quick look now in the games ranked in silver. Surprisingly, I find Manor Lords, a game that was officially released after many years in early access this year. Finally, last year, 2024, a huge superb game of creation, of managing colonies, of cities. As for Diablo 4, I won't even mention it. I don't feel like it. What interesting things do we find? We will find Call of Duty Warzone for free, which is also found on the Battlegrounds platform. I also see a lot of critiques, discussions on specialized MMORPG forums telling us that Lost Ark is dying. I would like to hear your feedback on that. Do we find, surprisingly, Fallout 76 is still in the silver tier of games that made big money on Steam in 2024? I'm surprised, but why not? Then again, it can be explained by a price that is often a bit low. There are many promotions on this game regularly. Then there is still an intriguing catch-up that offers a lot of varied content for small amounts. That's how they make their money. Let's not kid ourselves. Stardew Valley, going strong for over 6 years now, almost 8. And so much the better. It's a very good game. Find this short game. There is still Rainbow Six, despite the fact that it is mainly played via Uplay. Once Human, it's a very good game that I introduced to you this summer. It's a true survival type MMO of the post-apocalyptic type, a game I really recommend to you. Very, very, very good game. And you see that in free-to-play it is well ranked. Grand Theft Auto 5 still present. Of course, we are eagerly awaiting the release of Grand Theft Auto 6. And finally, in the MMORPGs, look, we find Final Fantasy XIV here. So Final Fantasy XIV manages to position itself in silver for the base games of Steam 2024, knowing that some players use Steam, but still many players use the official launcher, so they are not counted there. You have Tezo, same principle for Tezo, it's an online score. We will find it both on Steam and through its launcher. Finally, among the new releases, Dragon's Dogma 2, which has received very mixed reviews but has still arrived. And Stalker 2, which was released at the end of the year 2024, ranked second, with very positive reviews despite a bit of a crash in the first days. Where people complained about an unfinished bogey game, etc., there have been patches that improved it, and now apparently we have a title that is now playable and enjoyable. Let's conclude our overview with the bronze games. We have Sea of Thieves, incredible. The game is still here, even in 2025, it's still being talked about, even though I think there's not necessarily a lot of communication. On Sea of Thieves, that game, since it came out, it always attracts players organically, I feel. It's quite incredible. We will find some very good solo games that I haven't presented and that I might present on my channel, like strategy games, I love them, like Crusader Kings 3, for example, simulation games, Euro Truck Simulator 2, Unstoppable. So those are really community games. They thrive thanks to active communities. Look at the surprise we find in games that marked 2024 on Steam in terms of revenue. Games that have not been released just because their pre-order allows them to be ranked at this level. It's Monster Hunter Wilds. In MMORPG, we have Black Desert Online, which is currently free. Offered. Consider getting it now. It's a good MMO. A bit complicated to handle when you're not familiar with the style. In free games, we have The Finals. It's a good first-person shooter. There will be a lot of people on it. Among other games, in the cult games, Civilization, despite its 8 years of operation, is still in the top of the best-selling games. Look at that, amazing. Wallpaper Engine, a software for €2 and some, and manages every year to rank among the games, which is not a game ultimately, but which allows in-gamers to make the most money on Steam. It's still crazy. This thing is just a generator a slideshow of wallpapers actually, of desktop backgrounds. Incredible. I found RimWorld, a game I love. We found Bodycam, a very nice release from this summer, 2024. FPS, first-person view with this Bodycam style, that's very cool. Ready or Not, which isn't bad at all. Tactical FPS simulation, I liked it a lot. What kind of funny thing do we find? TCG Card Shop Simulator, where you have to manage your collectible card store. It's ugly, it doesn't make you want to, but the simulation aspect is really very addictive. And we finish with, look, Balatro, the revelation game of 2024. There you go, friends, who concludes the best games of the year 2024 on Steam. Feel free to react in the comments once again. Excuse my very difficult diction. You can find all the games I presented to you through my instant gaming link in the description to find them so on sale if one of these games interests you. See you very soon. Tell me what you think of this Top Steam 2024. I say goodbye for now. This was Kaz and see you next time.